Hi everybody, welcome to this week's question and answer video. Happy Monday, hope your weekend was great. Hope the beginning of the year is starting out good for all of you. If not, I'm sorry. Trying to make a change. It just started, it's early. I'm answering you guys' questions from the last week's video. I do this every single Monday. I encourage all of you, please go down below into the comment section, ask me anything you want. All I ask is you give us your locations, and I'm asking from all of you who have not already signed the petition that I started, Stop Narcissistic Online Bullying, the number one reason young people are taking their lives today, and it's growing, increasing massively. So even if you don't think you're directly affected, please realize so many millions of people are. And just for our society, help sign this petition. It's not to stop free speech, it's to stop massive attacks, ongoing, obsessive, stalking attacks to make people take their lives. Thank you. It's right down below in the comment section, in the description box. You just follow the link and say you support it. It's worldwide. Thank you very much. So, let's get into the questions, which are always good. If I miss anyone's questions, I didn't do it on purpose, please let me know. Also, anybody that's contacting me for services, for coaching at daviddemars.com, please, if you think I haven't replied to you, I have. Check your spam folder, contact me again, try me again. You got to contact me through daviddemars.com. I have people trying to contact me through different social media that I don't necessarily check on the regular. Thank you. Okay, first one is from the Healing Family from California. Hello. Thank you for your advice and positivity. Always helps my little ones and I. Thanks for telling me. I appreciate you always telling me. Thank you. You make a huge difference in our lives, not only in our lives, but worldwide. Holidays are over now. We continue with our healing journey. Question for you. What made you want to help so many people? What made you become a coach? Wish there was more people like you. You're much appreciated. Oh, well, thank you. I wish there was more people like you. There are. There's more people like me. There's people better than me. That's for sure. But thank you. What got me into it? My own experiences. And I think the biggest part of my own experience that got me into this is no help available, no information, no understanding. My first experience with a very toxic, abusive, traumatic relationship was a very long time ago. It was in the 90s. And, no internet. There was nothing. I went and saw professional help. They didn't know anything. They didn't know what to say. One of them cried. Not what you want when you're trying to get some validation, some understanding. The lack of information, the lack of help out there is what encouraged me to start my own YouTube channel, providing information to people, trying to spread awareness and stuff like this. And then people requesting to talk to me, and my time made me realize that I have something to offer. I started talking to people for free first for about a year, and then realized I can make a living doing this, and which would allow me to devote way more of my time and my life and energy to this. Whereas if I had to go work for someone else, I would be doing this on the side and stuff. So I've devoted my life to this, 9 years ago now. It's been about 9 years. And, I've taken a lot of sacrifices to do this work. I don't make a bunch of money. There's things that I can't do and things I have to do by taking this type of work on that would be a lot easier to just go work for someone else. But I enjoy doing this, and that's what's more important to me, to watch you guys grow. It's the most amazing, incredible experience to have, and to play some part in that is great. Thank you always for being so supportive. Question from Cobb County, Georgia. Do you know why it seems like the devaluation cycles speed up? Example, used to be able to spend 2 weeks together and a break of 3 days. Now it's 4 days for only a few hours and a 1.5 month break with no communication between. Yikes. So we solve this by not taking breaks. We don't break up. That doesn't solve anything. It means the relationship is over, right? You can call it a break or a break up, But if we break up, it's the relationship already failed, right? So just taking some time off and getting back together, well, there you are, right where you failed. You just pick it right up where it failed. Yeah? And we don't fix anything, do we? We wait till we feel better. That doesn't solve anything. So here we are, just going to keep, keep kicking that dead horse, right? We're going to keep trying and trying and trying, but we're not doing anything at all. A break and time and stuff like this doesn't fix problems. It just doesn't. So when we break up and get back together, this is an unstable relationship. Probably the reason it failed in the first place. It's too unstable. If you have a relationship with someone very unstable, the relationship will be very unstable. This instability in the relationship causes dependency. What does that mean? That means that no longer my nervous system works as it should on its own by eliminating stress and making me feel better about it. Instead, I've stayed in the stress. This doesn't work well, and I rely on the relationship of the person to make me feel better, to calm me down, stuff like this. An unstable relationship, because, I'm not saying life is linear. It goes like this, and relationships have problems, and hopefully we fix them or end it, but it goes like this. But a relationship goes like this is the same thing as any other addiction. It's not like it. It is one. And we can do drugs and get high and come down. And we can get drunk and be hungover and gamble all our money and lose. You see that? And the up and down causes dependency. We're no longer, we are self-reliant. We cannot regulate our own emotions, whatever it is. Make me feel better, calm down. In the highs, we want that high. We want that dopamine rush, endorphins, stuff like this. Any lifestyle like that isn't healthy, is it? Even just being like I'm addicted to excitement. I got to jump out of airplanes and stuff and all the time. And you'll talk to people that do that, and they get massive crashes, depression after jumping out of an airplane. After a while, that becomes addictive. Just like any addiction, the highs and the lows, we go for those highs. Those highs don't get very high anymore. So the first time you get in a huge fight, it's intense, mass stress chemicals, and you break up, right? And then now you're depressed and down from the breakup. You're grieving, and you don't like yourself. It was an abusive relationship. You're not proud of yourself, so you're being super critical, and you can't take it anymore, and you want other people to distract you and fill that void. But we get back together, and it's woo, right? Make-up sex, party. Maybe we're getting high and drinking too along with it, which is going to increase it even more fold. And it's a huge rush. We got endorphins and oxytocin and serotonin and dopamine. And then that doesn't last. And because of a high, when you have too high of endorphins, it'll crash and you'll be depressed anyway, just on that. But then it's add the stress, add the triangulation, the gaslighting, the threats of leaving you, right? The financial stress, whatever it is. And you crash. And it crashes lower and it gets worse and worse. And we get back together and it's not as intense anymore. The highs aren't as highs. So a normal addiction pattern would be like this, right? And then eventually it starts going up, only up to there. Only up there. And now we're down here and we just want to feel normal now. We don't even care about the rush. We just want to feel normal. Stabilized. Relationship ain't going to do it for you. You got to get away from it. Does that make sense, everybody? If it doesn't, let me know. Thank you for your question. Hi again from Alex. Hi, Alex. From Scandinavia. Thank you for answering my question about emotional incest. I have another one this week. You're welcome and thank you. My BPD seems you put those in quotes. My BPD seems to forget the last relation cycle of abuse as soon as she starts a new one. She really seems to have no insight that this is a never-ending pattern. Is this common? And if so, do they actually forget, or is this just manipulation and gaslighting? Happy New Year. Thank you. Happy New Year. Well, obviously, I can't tell you about any individual person, individual case. I'm generalizing. I'm telling you what's typical with this type of mental illness. They lack self-awareness. It's a self-development as a child. You know, think about when we're introduced to society for the first time. 5 years old, right? Kindergarten, most of us call it. And that really is, you know, mom and dad really, they drop us off, don't they? See ya. Now with your peers and authority, now you're in society. Yeah. And the child's got to learn to be agreeable, to not have temper tantrums, stuff like this. The parents must start developing the child's self through self-awareness. Mom and dad, the only time we place someone before us is our children. And children have to be before us and more important than us. It's teaching the child to place themselves before everyone. We have to help this child develop their own self-awareness. At 5 years old, they did something mean to a peer of theirs, right? Went up and kicked him in the shins. And mom and dad need to hold them accountable. As much as it hurts, as much as it sucks to look at ourselves sometimes, we have to be forced to start doing that. Borderline didn't learn that. Wasn't held accountable. Didn't develop self-awareness. Could be through trauma that this stopped. But a person you're describing, it hurts too much to look at themselves. Loss creates depression, and that's your reaction to who you are. And the more that you love yourself, the less depression we have following loss. It's okay. I love myself. Somebody that can't look at themselves and it hurts too much at all doesn't hold themselves accountable, doesn't change. Very rigid personality disorder. See that? We all lacked self-awareness. It was something that was developed. And if we didn't have the proper development, we aren't self-aware. Let me know if that makes sense, Alex. Thanks. Hey, brother, hope I'm not too late to the party with the question. No, as long as you make it by Monday, early Monday. Kosman, 33, from Romania again. Hi, Kosman. Well, yesterday has been 3 months since the discard and the whole horror shit post-lat. Last time I spoke to her on the 31st broke any kind of attachment I had with her, BPDX, as I truly saw her true face for the last time. Having things come from her, like the sex is great with her monkey branch. She's telling you the sex is great with someone else. I feel damned freed since then, getting long-winded like a Romanian grandma again, yet there's a weird loyalty I kind of feel for her. Not sure what it actually is, since for the past days, a woman around the place I hang out with is clearly hitting on me. But I do feel like a dumb teen, like I've lost what I was in the past. Along that feeling that I don't really know what it is. Honestly, David, I'm unsure if you'll get it since it's written formatted at 2 a.m. after a 2-hour workout and my brain is shutting down. Haha. Thank you, brother, for keeping me and many others sane for these months of hell that I do feel being out of its grasp. Really do hope I'll be able to make it up to you soon, to you, as I don't like being in debt. You're not in debt. No one's in debt by watching my videos. But thanks. You appreciate my help. Thank you. I appreciate you. I do understand what you're saying, I believe, actually. I remember being so traumatized for so long with somebody, being so committed to them, so responsible for them, that, you know, I tried to date right afterwards. It didn't work. And I kept thinking, God, I just need to get over this person. I need to get over this person. I thought I was just, you know, not over this person. And I was just traumatized. Love is unconditional care. And when I love somebody, everyone that I love, I unconditionally care for them. And it can't just stop suddenly. And you can spit in my face and walk off, and I may never talk to you again, but the care doesn't stop for a while. And if I'm in a committed relationship, I want to be committed for the rest of my life. That's what makes it hard for me to try to just start dating again afterwards. I didn't want this. This is not what I want. And if it's not what you want, don't do it. Don't push yourself to date. A lot of people think that's how I get over someone, get under a new guy. That's the women, right? And men say, oh, I gotta use it or I'll lose it. No, you're losing a sense of yourself, of who you are. Build that relationship with yourself first, then try adding a friend, then a partner, in that order. Trying to push yourself and date women when I'm clearly not ready. There's, trauma, emotional trauma is very complex. There's quite a few things going on in your brain, in your nervous system. And we need to heal from our past. We need to understand exactly why this happened so that we make sense of it, to alleviate guilt and shame and hypervigilance and fear, so we can trust ourselves again. I think I understand what you're saying, and I'm sorry, it sounds like you're not ready to date again. What might help is to say, I'm not going to date for this long. So then when women, are flirting with me, oh well, I don't feel pressure like I need to ask them out or something. Come up with some reason why I can't date them because I'm not ready. It makes me feel, insecure or ashamed of myself. No, I'm taking care of myself. I need to figure out some shit that I just went through so I don't go through that again. And I don't need anybody. I need myself. And if you lose a sense of who you are in this relationship, which you did because they don't meet your needs, you didn't feel good, this isn't what you wanted, and they don't value what you value, the same things or your belief, and you're gone. The psychological damage means that I have low self-worth and low self-esteem, low self-respect. We need to fix these things, guys. And another person ain't going to do that for you. Another person is going to distract you from that. While you're vulnerable, while you're down, come into your life, swoop you right in and do it all over again. Let me know if I make sense. I think I understand. Let me know if I understand what you're saying. Andrew, I think from Poland. Let's see, do you tell us? This is a very long comment. I don't know if I'm going to read the whole thing because I think I understand what you're trying to say. Could I please request a tutorial video on dealing with workplace smear campaign? I've made some, but yeah, I take requests and I'll make them again. I have spent a considerable amount of time working with Germans and Swedes, and the level of gossip, passive aggressiveness, and the number of smear campaigns are simply shocking in those cultures. We are talking here about institutionalized mobbing. Historically speaking, the construct of mobbing was in fact first defined in Sweden by a German-Swedish psychiatrist, Heinz Lehmann. There is also a study from 21 commissioned by the University of Stockholm titled Gossip Punishes Swedes Who Violate Social Norms. So they're promoting gossip and attacking people so that you conform with social norms. Well, what they're doing is they're creating social norms. With a narrative. I'm not going to read the whole thing here. You're saying the Anglo-Saxon culture is better at the workplace than European. You spent time working with Brits. Sorry, I can't read this whole thing. But your question is you want me to, yeah, I can. I'll give you some tips right now. A couple of big tips. If you're working for a large company, stay the hell off social media. Don't do it. You know what they're doing now, right? They go look up your social media and they punish you and they judge you for it. Things in your past or whatever. Stop doing it. Okay? If this job's important to you, remind yourself of why you have it. Are you there to make money or make friends? I would keep those very, very separated. I would have friends and then go to work to make money. And don't mix those two at all. Do not tell anybody anything. If someone doesn't know a single thing about you, it's real hard to smear you. They can make up lies, and that's what most of it is anyway. Don't tell people shit. Don't share with anything. Don't emotionally react with coworkers. Don't get involved. Don't care. Don't give them advice even when they ask for it. I don't know. Go ask so-and-so. I don't know. Just stop. And your reaction to what they're doing, all they're trying to do is control you and bait you to ruin you. And as long as you let them know, I don't care, it doesn't affect me, they give up, because it's real hard to invest in something forever with no payout. You can't control this stuff. You can go to HR, you can go get a lawyer, or you can quit, but you can't control this and stop this. If it gets bad enough, if they're breaking the law, consider taking the legal route. If they're doing something civilly wrong, you can take the civil route. Or you can just accept that human beings, we're pretty unevolved species. Yeah. And you can run away from one sick fuck and just go meet a new one. So we got to find a way to deal with this stuff. And my best advice is go to work to make money, and don't let them know a single other thing about you, and don't be there for them ever. Never. If it doesn't have something to do with work, if it's not part of your jobs or job detail description, screw them. Don't go out to lunch with people. Don't hang out with them after work. Don't listen to their problems about their wife or their husband. Screw them. They need to go get help. They need to tell a friend. If they're telling you they don't have friends, stay away from them. There's not much else you can do. You're not going to run away from them. The only thing you're going to run away from is because you told them too much. You effed up. You effed up and you crossed boundaries at work. And what are boundaries? Anything personal. Personal work. That's how our brains work, period. That's why when you have a fight with a friend or a girlfriend or a boyfriend, it's up in the air and not resolved, and you go to work and it's kind of on the back burner. I don't feel it as much until I get off work. Oh, there it is. Don't mix those. Holy shit. Okay? That's my best advice. I'll make another video. Thank you for asking. Stephanie from Northern California. Hi, Stephanie. Thank you for taking your time to make these videos for us. You are so welcome, and thank you for telling me. How do you think men with borderline and narcissist comorbidity handle the holidays when they have abandoned their small child and the mask they wore has now fallen? They are collapsed. Just curious, any advice for those of us who are left to raise their babies alone? The void is felt during the holidays and special occasions the most. The worst part is having to come up with a way to explain this to the child as they grow older, especially if the parent is with their other children, not them. That must be tough. Yeah. Abandonment, neglect. It's psychological. You're going to have to find a way to hopefully that your child doesn't internalize this as him. That conversation, age appropriate according to you, Mom, when you feel comfortable, but just do it with love. Love and compassion. Your first question. How do narcissist borderline men handle the holidays? Well, look, personality disorders, I mean, especially cluster B, it's due to child neglect and trauma, things like this. Stress. They don't do well with stress. That's period. And we don't either, right? Especially if we have PTSD. And they might too. But they don't handle stress at all, very well at all. And you'll find that it doesn't matter how well their life might be currently or a relationship. Oh, there's Christmas and it's stress and they do stupid shit. They start fights. They sabotage it. They run away, ignore you, whatever it is. They can't handle it. Some of them just can't even handle their own birthdays, can't handle the attention, can't handle the pressure. They get caught up in stupid shit. But the stress levels rise and so do their behaviors. And so they don't handle it well anyway. Holidays is a time of self-reflection, isn't it? Isn't it? You know, people that I work with have anxiety and ruminating thoughts, depression. It's worse just every day. It's worst at the end of the day when things really slow down and I'm at home by myself. Yeah. Holidays seem to do this the most for us. We also get together with more family and more relationships, which could make it more stressful, and it definitely does for them. They can't handle relationships anyway. They're not functional. And so all of this combined just makes more stress and makes them feel worse. Anything that makes them look at themselves, anything that makes them slow down and introspect at all, whether it's loss, failed relationships, holidays, things like this, is only going to make them feel worse. It really touches their toxic shame. Unless they're a sociopath, psychopath, they don't really care, what other people think of them. And a part of this is what other people think of. Narcissists certainly care what people think of them. And they know whether they hate being a parent and don't love their children or care at all. They know we care. We know that you're an absolute failure. It causes them guilt and shame. Not being able to see their children, even if they don't care. It says, I'm not a good dad. I'm a failed dad. Somebody doesn't care about me, maybe. The mask has fallen. They're collapsed. So this just causes massive depression, more depression for them, okay? Any of you left to raise your babies alone? If you are trying to raise a child, if you have a child with an abusive parent, keep that parent away from the child, okay? It does no good to say, oh, well, they still need a dad. Yeah, they do. And one that's abusing them isn't a dad. And we don't just meet their needs and abuse them. Nah, that doesn't happen. No. And so we're not here just financially and just for encouragement every once in a while to take them to McDonald's or something. It's make them feel secure no matter what. Give them, emotionally connect with them. Give them emotional attention. All this stuff. A father's role, and here's what's important, what you guys need to know if you're raising children alone. Here's some important things to know. The mother and father's role. Besides, they have to meet their needs unconditionally. So learn what the children's needs are so you can meet them unconditionally so that they can meet their own needs unconditionally when they grow up. And then they can have functioning, healthy relationships with people and teach their children the same. So that's one thing you can do. If you have children with toxic people like this, you were neglected. So you don't know what your emotional needs are or how to meet them. So learn that. Crucial. And then realize what the roles are of each parent. And they have one role. Each one different. And a father's role is to get involved in the children's life and show them direction. That's something that a mother can do in place of the father. Get more involved in their life and help them with direction more. The mother's role is to provide absolute, unconditional, all the time, safety and security. Loving the child all the time, reassuring them all the time, not raising my voice, not exploiting this, not threatening it, all the time, no matter what they do. If they're bad or good or fail, whatever. And so a father can do that in place of a mother who's not there. Okay? But we're not overcompensating. Okay? A lot of parents become this kind of helicopter, emotionally incest parent, thinking that, it doesn't have the other parent, so I need to make up for it and just be there all the time and, not punish them, not hold them accountable, not have enough structure and stuff. No. They're okay. They're okay without the other parent. If you meet their needs unconditionally and fill the roles of each parent, try to a little bit. The other thing you can do is realize that if a parent doesn't have a mother, okay, it's not learning what a woman is. It's not learning what a wife is. It's not learning what a mother is. And so having good role models around that child that are women can really help. A woman child therapist. You can start right there. Vice versa. My children, father's out of our lives. Okay, that child needs to know what a man is, what a husband is, what a father is, and by having some male role models in that child's life. Okay, these are things that we can do without the other parent. Okay, thank you, Stephanie. Let me know what you think. And Barbara from Grand Rapids, Michigan. Hi, Barbara. I always think of Dave Letterman. Didn't you always say that? It was like the top 10 came from Grand Rapids or something. May I ask, in your experience, do PPD behaviors manifest themselves any differently in same-sex relationships? More specifically, do they manifest themselves differently in female-female relationships? Wonderful question, Barbara. I can't tell you I know it all. So I'll tell you what I know. So studies have shown, this is stuff you guys can look up. It's no particular studies. This is widely accepted and known. That people that are homosexual tend to have more mental illness. None of this is my opinion yet. I'll share my opinion with you to help you with a couple examples that I've just seen and learned. But until I get to my opinion, this is just facts you can look up. People who are homosexual have a higher, much higher propensity for mental illness. First, anxiety, depression, PTSD, taking their own lives, multiple times higher, taking their own lives. I read a specific study recently that gay men can be up to 75% have borderline personality disorder. Huge. I'm not sure about women. What I have noticed, the difference between men and men and women relationships that are toxic, let's say toxic, BPD, I have noticed men and men, homosexual relationships, are just extreme higher in sex. I mean, it seems to be all about money and sex. You know, women are supposed to be more emotionally mature than men. So I would imagine just on those grounds, female-female relationships are more emotionally mature than male-to-male relationships. Would be a massive guess. I mean, something I'm confident in saying. That would only make sense. So when you get into male-male relationships, you're going to have really superficial things, right? They tend to crave more attention in the room. They tend to be more money-oriented. What I've noticed is it seems like you always have one gay man in the relationship that has a ton of money and the other gay man that exploits them. And then massive cheating, infidelity, or total open relationships, and they're just constantly having sex with other men. Something I've noticed. What I've noticed with female-female gay relationships, where borderline would come into play, because it's very high in that too. And what I've noticed is more insecurity and more controlling and power. So just like you have that gay man that has all the money and control, it seems that you have a woman that's way more in control of the relationship of the other woman. And what I've noticed is you seem to have a gay woman who's never been with a man, who's more in control and has the power of that relationship. And then you have a female who might be bisexual, who's had relationships with men. And then this woman will threaten the other one and triangulate them with men and other women. And then this one will be super controlling. Don't look at this. Don't talk about this. You can't have any men, know any men. You got to wear this and do this. Real psychopathic. I'm not saying they're psychopaths, but it's psychopathic traits. Does that help? You're going to have more logic thinking, more emotional thinking, right? Logic based in what I want us to look like, be like, feel like. Well, maybe not feel. More money-oriented sex, where you have the more emotional insecurities, controlling, fighting. I notice more fighting, definitely. Does that help? What do you think, Barbara? Thanks for the question. It's a good one. Rose from the United Kingdom. Hello, Rose. Can I also ask, the guy I'm with, you must know us very well. His mom passed away a month ago. So I have been organizing the funeral. He says he doesn't care about it. And he is flat emotionally. It's been knocked out of him. But I've seen him cry. When he has seen funeral arrangements and his forever telling me about his ex and everyday conversation, surely that's not emotionally flat. Contradiction. Okay. Well, Rose, emotionally flat is you saying you know what his body's doing inside. We can have flat affect, and that means I'm not expressing emotion. Does that make sense? A psychopath can have very flat affect also because They're very limited in emotion, sure. But you and I and everybody else watching these videos have been pretty damn good at hiding emotion. I'm miserable and dying inside. Everything's fine, right? Do you see that? So having flat affect doesn't mean I'm emotionally flat. I think that's what you're saying, right? Because he'll show some emotion, you're like, that's contradicting. So my guess, because when you have a psychopath in the family, it's just extremely common. They don't want to deal with weddings, funerals, church, get-togethers, family shit, talk about this, talk about that. That's the psychopath, right? Kind of bounce, kind of take off. That's when you don't see dad. Very narcissistic man, high in psychopathy too, would be like that. They don't want to deal with it. You know, emotionally avoidant. If I don't have enough care and love growing up, and I really very limited, actually down to none, like many narcissists are, they become avoidant. So, you know, hey, let's hang out, let's get together, let's date, whatever. But the second we get too intimate, too emotional, too of this, too important, you want this, no, I'm out, right? And so this stuff, just like I was talking before, it causes more stress. They don't want to deal with it. They also don't emotionally connect with people, so they don't see any advantage in this. They've never done it. So they don't understand being there, morally supportive for someone. They don't understand grieving and that we can grieve together. No. Ignore, block. I want to ignore that my mom died. I want to ignore that loss. This is all self-rejection. And that's what a narcissist is. The narcissist has developed in life learning to reject their true self and counter it with an ego. All the time. It started all the time. It's very common for narcissists to downplay their childhood, not understand it real well, that it was extremely neglectful or traumatic, or I felt ashamed of myself all the time in childhood and no confidence, was never good enough, and they can't accept that weakness, right? So they're rejecting themselves all the time, rejecting how they truly feel, rejecting what they really need, don't want to tell anyone, don't want to be vulnerable, can't ask for that, I'm better than that, I'm not weak like that. Right? So I don't want to deal with a family funeral. Well, yeah, it's one of our worst experiences. So they just say, screw it, I'm not doing it. There's nothing advantageous about it. Where we will say, well, I miss that person, right? And I want to be there for the other people that I love. We all lost this person and grieved together and, you know, things like, no, it's a child. They're children. And literally, they're emotional children. They never fully finish developing into any kind of functioning adult. They're a dysfunctional child, an emotional idiot. You know how many children? What's a child's attitude? You remember being a child? What was your attitude about a funeral? Yeah, no, thank you. I don't even want to go to a wedding. I don't want to go to church. A funeral. Oh. That's it. And we all remember being a child, I hope. We're not that out of touch, not that old. Rory from Ohio. Hello, Rory. I remember the day on your channel when I had mentioned, this is great. This is great, Rory. I love you for being able to say this. I remember the day on your channel when I had mentioned our mom and dad had 9 children. I remember that too. You said had to be massive neglect. I was so irritated with you. How dare you say that about them? I called you every name in the book. Offline, of course. You didn't know anything about our family. Who is this man to say such a mean thing? After a couple of hours of skewing over it, in your words, I said to myself, dang, David, I hate when you're right. Although they kept a roof over our heads, fed and clothed us, which is something that is expected, they both had problems. My dad was an alcoholic. My mom was depressed. Dad was never home. They did the best that they could with the knowledge they had, passed down from past generations. I learned so much from your comments about childhood neglect that opened my eyes. Just wanted to let you know I appreciate you for telling the truth. I appreciate you for telling me and telling all of us, Rory. This is what helps people look at themselves more. This and the fact that you could helped you grow. And that shows you that if I can't do that, and I just attack David for something he said that didn't feel good, I don't look at myself and I don't grow from it. So it's nice to hear when you're right. This isn't something that I want to be right about either. But what's beautiful about it is that you could look at yourself and it didn't hurt too much. And you have the confidence and the humility to post this. Thank you, Rory. And I hope all of you can do this. Look at yourself. Don't reject yourself. Don't reject your experiences. When I'm on here talking about child neglect, I'm not saying anyone's a bad parent. We do raise children the way that we were raised. And usually we do it a little better. When I have a client that tells me the things they dealt with in childhood that were awful, I say, you know what? Your parents may even have had it worse. And they did. They always did. Yeah. So it's about material that we know, that we learn from our teachers, our parents. Okay? And even if people do bad things, or if they're a bad parent, they're not bad people. Okay? Thank you, Rory. I guess that's it. That's it, everybody. Thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate your support. Thumbs up, comments down below, share the video. Tell us your locations. Try signing the petition down below. I appreciate it. Love yourself first, guys. Have a beautiful week. Bye-bye.